I don't know if that's because I just had more gas or because I just finished working on my taxes. Hey, welcome to another video. So recently I had another gas attack, gear acquisition syndrome. I know you're familiar. And I started thinking about why and how can we get around it. And what I ended up purchasing this time as my birthday present wasn't a lens or a camera. It was what's called a DAS, which is different from a RAS. But a DAS is a self-contained unit, comes in different configurations. Mine has 4 hard drives in it, and I set it up as an array 5. And what that does is your computer looks at it as one big hard drive, even though there's 4. And the theory is, should one of those 4 hard drives go bad inside your unit, you replace the one hard drive and all your data is still saved. It'll rebuild itself. I hope I never have to test that theory. And the reason why I got it and why I needed to alleviate that gas was because I'm at a point now where I had several external hard drives. And when I wanted to go back and find things, I was having a hard time searching. So what I did was I built a catalog on my new unit. And rather than storing them in years, I stored, say, one folder called photography. And then under that folder, I have another folder called family. And then under family, I have each individual name. And then under each individual name, then I store it by year. So the file name, let's say it was August, and I know Europeans, you do your dates backwards, but mine might be 08.13.24 so-and-so soccer game. And then I know, because it's under the folder of that person, they're playing soccer back in August. And then if I really needed to go back to the original file for whatever reason, then on my external hard drives, they are stored in years and months. So I can go right back and find it a lot easier. And from that, it created more gas. And what happened was I started going through all my old files as I was cataloging them, even though I'm still cataloging them. I ran across some files and I went, you know what, that'll make a nice platinum print. And then I had to go out and order supplies from Bostic and Sullivan and start making platinum prints. And then from making platinum prints that were mostly 4x5, 5x7, I decided, you know what, maybe I ought to make a little bit larger platinum prints. More gas. Then I ordered a bigger contact print frame off of eBay from a guy. Came in yesterday, so I haven't made the first larger print. Not large, larger. It'll only be about 11x14 as opposed to 4x5, but hey. But it just meant I had to order more paper and larger negatives, more gas. The endless cycle. So how do we get around this? This is a problem that I know a lot of people run across. And this is only a suggestion, it's not the ultimate answer. When it comes to your gear, there's things that I do to myself sometimes. It's okay, if I want to buy that lens, I have to sell a lens. Which lens can I get rid of? Maybe I impose on myself, you know, that's a really nice lens. Okay, I have to sell 2 lenses to acquire that one lens. I want to upgrade my camera body. Okay, I got to sell my old camera body. Maybe I have to sell 2 camera bodies, if I have 2 camera bodies at the time. And so that's one way in the past where I've imposed restrictions on myself, and it has helped. Where would I love to have a Leica Q3 43 fall out of the sky? Would I love to have a Leica M10 monochrome fall out of the sky in my lap? Of course, but it's not going to happen. And when you weigh the pros and the cons, how much would I really use it for what the type of photography I do? And so another way of doing it is just write down on paper pros and cons. Is this really going to pay for itself? If it's not, you don't buy it. I'd love to have a Q2 monochrome, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But is it really going to help me? Probably not. Not for the type of photography that I necessarily want to do. Which leads me to the last point, in how, at least temporarily, you can, I think, stop some of the gas. Which I know for now, it has definitely put a stop on me. I'm done for a while. I know what I want to do. I have something I want to work on now. And that's going to put, hopefully, for at least a while, the end to any gas. And I know the type of photography that I like. Is shooting sports, shooting wildlife, and also travel photography. Landscapes. Will a Leica Q2 do those? Not really. Will my Nikon Z8 do those? Absolutely. And that's where you start thinking about, okay, how do I get rid of gas? If you want to take it a step further, my suggestion would be to find a project. I know a lot of people are going to think, okay, well that means taking a bunch of photos and making a photo book. Not necessarily. It could mean you take a lot of photos, yes. That's the idea, use your equipment. But if you find the proper project, you can then understand what gear it is you really need to do that project. It might only mean you need one lens. One camera body, one lens. Maybe you need a 50mm lens and you can do that project. For me, what I've decided was I'm going to make, for the time being, I'm not going to stop taking other photographs, making a color photograph or whatever here and there. But I think for the time being, my main focus is going to be on making those platinum prints. And I haven't decided yet if it's going to be an overall arching theme of making platinum prints or really narrowing down to, it's only going to be herons. You know, I'm only going to take heron photographs and try to make platinum prints and make a whole portfolio. Recently, I joined a local art league. I don't know how that's going to work out because I haven't hung anything in their gallery yet. So I can't, I'll report back. Maybe I'll do another video on that later on. I can't tell you the pros and cons. I do know they don't sell a lot out of there, but they've been around since the 1940s, apparently. So they've been around a long time in the town here. And they have a nice little gallery. They're not open much each day. They're only open maybe 5 days a week, 9 to 4 or 12 to 4. So they're only open about 20 hours a week. I think part of it's because they can't get the volunteers to sit there. So I don't know how successful that's going to be. But it did prompt me to want to hang things in the gallery. And in hanging things in the gallery, I wanted something that was different. I wanted something that likely that gallery has never had in there before, and that's a platinum print. And unfortunately, the flip side is most of the people in there are not going to have any clue as to what it is. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. It's not going to stop me from doing my project of creating more platinum prints, but it is a little bit of an incentive that if I put them in there and one or two sell occasionally, and it's going to start paying for its own platinum and the materials that I need, it'll help me stay on that project, stay on that theme and that idea of making more. So what are some ideas for your own project? You don't want to do platinum prints, or maybe you've kicked around the idea of a book for a while now. You know, what are some ideas? Well, where do you live in the world? You know, I would think I know I have some viewers from the UK. If you lived in a place like London, I mean, that's a treasure trove of photographs to be able to go around downtown. I know I haven't been to Boston in a number of years, but when I went to Boston, one of the things that I really enjoyed about the town was how you would have these historic buildings. And I know, hey, in the US, the 1700s is historic. If you're European, don't laugh at me and say, that's not historic, that's yesterday. Okay, I get it. But for Boston, that's historic. And you'd have this old church, maybe right next to or real close to this large modern office building. And I just found that really unique. There's probably a few places in the world where you can see that type of thing. London, Paris might be one of them, two of them, Budapest. There are places in the world. I don't know, Tokyo, I've never been. However, there are places in the world you probably see that type of thing. Well, maybe that's your theme. Maybe that's your project. Juxtaposing the new with the old. Maybe that's a theme. Maybe you live in rural United States and you want to do a project on farmers, farmlands, and you want to take portraits of old farmers. I don't know. Just kicking around ideas. Maybe your project restricts yourself. I can only use a 35mm lens. I can only use a 50mm lens. I can only shoot between the hours of 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. all year round. I don't know. Maybe you have another hobby other than photography. Maybe your hobby is gardening and you want to take photographs of your flowers as they grow. Again, these are things that you can all think of, but I don't think it would be that hard to come up with an idea for a project. And once you have that project, then you start honing in on, do I need one lens to do it? Do I need two lenses? Get those things. More than likely, you already have them in your home as part of your kit, and just use those. And stop thinking about, hey, is that 800mm Nikon lens going to show up at Christmas time? No, that $12,000 lens is not going to show up at Christmas time. So get it out of your head. Unless you win the lottery, it ain't happening. So what can I do? Well, I have that 24-120 Nikon lens that I use it a lot for these herons. I have the Tamron 70-300 that I use a lot for the herons. You know, one of the things that I started doing was I started carrying around my Z8 with my Voigtlander 50 F2 Apo, and I started looking for something that I think would look good in platinum. So again, me personally, I haven't quite honed in on, is my project going to be platinum prints, or am I going to restrict myself even more and say, okay, it can only be portraits and wildlife. It can only be herons. It can only be, again, portraits of my family. I don't necessarily think I want to restrict myself that much, but it has stopped me from always wanting something that somebody else has that I don't really need. You know, I mentioned earlier the Leica Q2 monochrome, or even the M10 monochrome, is because if I was going to really do platinums for a long time, we have to start with a black and white image. And so maybe the dynamic range on those monochrome cameras will lend itself a little bit more to getting that better black and white negative. That's the only reason why I thought about it. But then again, how much more is it really going to offer? Because from what I understand, yes, they're better in low light, but I don't necessarily going to shoot in low light. And if I'm going to shoot herons, Q2 monochrome isn't going to do me any good. So again, you start thinking about what you really want to do and what's the best camera body and lens or lenses that will allow you to do that project. For me, without question, it's the Z8. And I don't want to get off into, is the Z8 the best hybrid camera? People can argue about it, and I'm not here to argue brands and lenses and things like that. Partially because I've mentioned before in 1 or 2 videos, I only know what I see. I know it has stack the Z8 has a stack sensor, and people say, well, that's an advantage to that, but then Nikon's not using it properly. I don't know. I don't care. I only know when I put that camera up, what kind of image can I get? What's the quality? Does it fit my needs? And for me, the Z8 does. And so therefore, I'm good with that. And then when it comes to my lenses, all right, what project am I going to take on right now? And for now, it's some sort of platinum printing. How much I restrict myself, I don't know, but I'm going to limit myself, I already know, to no more than 3 lenses. All my platinums are going to be done with those 3 lenses. Because if I go shoot landscapes, I can do it with the 24-120. If I want to do street photography, I can do it with the 50 F2 Apo. If I want to shoot wildlife, I can do it with the 24-120 or the 70-300. And the Z8 will do all of it. That's how I've eliminated my gas for now. So hopefully it offered you a little tip here and there, something that can help you. But learn to restrict yourself, for a reason. Not just, okay, I'm not going to spend any money more on photography. No, here's my goal. Give yourself a goal. I want to do X. And what do I need to finish that project? It might be making a book. And if it is, great. For me, I'm still going to watch all the Leica videos. I'm still going to watch all the other, I watch some Sony videos from time to time, Canon videos, just because I'm curious. I watch the people that shoot Nikon. I'm just curious. I like to see what other people are using and why they're using it, mostly out of curiosity. So I'm not going to restrict myself from doing that. But I am going to restrict myself to, this is the style I want to shoot. This is what I want to photograph. And this is the gear I need to do it and be done with it. And the next time I have some gas, it'll probably be because, I don't know, I need better speakers or something for my stereo. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. And on one of my recent videos about platinum, you might want to go back and watch it. I'm not going to tell you which one, but it was a recent one about platinum printing. If you want a chance at owning one of these in platinum, there's only going to be 10. That's the other thing. I think all my platinums they're all going to be editions of 10 if I do sell them. I'm not going to sell all of them. But the ones I put in the gallery are all going to be edition sizes of 10. That one for sure, the Beatles one, it's going to be an edition of 10, no more than 10. Watch the video. If you are interested in that print, you'll find out how you might be able to pick one up. All right, till next time, take care. Thanks. See you later.